But what are the charts telling us? We will ask our expert, Shubham Agarwal of Motilal Oswal Securities, who's joining us now. Good morning, Shubham. Good to have you with us. Let's start with the Nifty itself. We did see some bit of resilience yesterday, outperformance compared to global markets. Do you think today we start with a buy or we start with short ideas?
Yeah, good morning. If you look at the overall development on Nifty on the larger scale, we believe that Nifty is placed at a make or break point where we are expecting a fierce move of beyond 1,000 point to happen, and this breakout should take place in a very less span of time. So around 15-20 days more consolidation is we see maximum. So now if you collect some evidences on the chart, there was a downward sloping wedge that has been under formation from early February this year till date. So if you look at that pattern, it's a downward sloping wedge where the probability remains very high for a breakout that should happen on the upside. So it's about 80% probability that the breakout should happen on the upside and a 20% probability that it should break down. Even if you look at some of the momentum indicators, most of the indicators are witnessing an extreme zone on the downside, which is again indicating that the market seems very oversold. Plus, if you see the India VIX, the absolute correlation there with Nifty remains very high at about 0.7. And even though the Nifty has been moving down, the VIX is refusing to move high, which is indicating that there is some kind of a downside that we can expect on India VIX as well. So combining all the studies, we believe that the probability remains very high for the market to move up. And if we talk about the support level, 7,900 is what we see as an important support for the Nifty for this view to hold. And on the upside, with a short-term perspective, I believe 8,500 should be the first target that we can see on Nifty. And post that, we can see higher highs also getting reported.
So this 8,500 target that you're speaking about, Shubham, do you expect to see it by the end of this series itself, or do you think we will have to wait till the month of July?
I think it should happen in the month of July, because if you look at this time period, it's about 10-12 days that the Nifty might remain consolidative and then a breakout might happen. So I don't think that in the June series it would be a prudent decision to go and take this trade. But yes, we can participate in futures for the next series as well, or roll it over to the next series. And we expect that July should be a month where we might see a steep movement coming in on the index. So this call is basically for 1.5 month time period.
Okay, actually it's nice to hear that, Shubham, because up until yesterday all we heard was sell on every rally. You're saying that at least we are at the lower end of the trading range, and so some money to be made at least by traders. Okay, what stocks will lead when the Nifty moves from 8,000 to 8,500? You have Coal India. Is that intraday buy or is it a positional buy?
This is a positional buy. So if you look at the medium-term chart of Coal India, there is a rounding bottom that we see on the medium-term to long-term scale. And the resistance of 400, we saw that getting surpassed, and for the past 3-4 days, the correction that we have seen, we believe that that is temporary in nature. So it's a very good opportunity to actually go and participate there. The stock has been a relative outperformer. So we expect that the next move on Coal India should be to the extent of 440. So that's the target that we are looking at. And a stop loss for the same can be kept at 378.
Okay. You also have a buy on EIL. Take us through that.
Yeah, Engineers India, if we look at the long-term trend there, since 2010 until 14, we saw a steep correction happening there, and it was a downward sloping channel that we saw was formed on the stock. But last year we saw impulse move taking place where the stock from 140 moved to about 350, and since then it has been corrective in nature. So now we believe that this retracement that has happened, that is about 76% of the impulse move that we saw last time, we believe that it's a very good support, and in the near term we don't expect this level to get breached. So we expect that this channel should break out on the upside, and the first target that we see on EIL is 240, and the stop loss for the same can be kept at 188. For the medium term perspective, we believe that the targets could be even high to the extent of 350.
All right. Actually, I wanted more your Nifty picks, because it's a nice target of 8,500 that you have. HDFC is quite a heavyweight. What are the levels you're watching out for? It's HDFC, right? Not the bank.
Yeah, it's SDFC Limited. So if you look at the chart pattern there, it doesn't require too much of an analysis. We can just, if you look at the raw chart, we can see that the stock has been in a secular uptrend, and every correction that happens there is a very good opportunity to buy, unless and until we see a steep reversal, which has not been seen so far. So it has pulled back on the long-term scale, quoting around support, so that's the first evidence. And if you look at the short-term chart, there's a bullish engulfing pattern that was formed 2 days back, and yesterday we saw follow-up buying coming in the stock, which is reconfirming the support and the pattern. So we expect that SDFC Limited should move up for the target of 1380, so that's the first target that we see on the stock, and the stop loss for the same can be kept at 1138.
Okay. You have two sell calls on mid-cap names, REC and Hexaware. Just take us through those targets and stop losses.
Yeah, so if you look at the pattern of REC, 310 was a very important support. It broke down from there. We saw a pullback up to 310, and then again it reconfirmed the downtrend. So combining these things, we believe that the stock should be in a time correction, but the lower end of this time correction should be around 230 to 235. So that is the reason we are recommending a sell on the stock for a target of 235, and a stop for the same can be kept at 290. If you talk about Hexaware, on the short-term chart, we saw a bearish engulfing pattern getting formed around the level where we saw a downward gap a few weeks ago. So this is reconfirming that the selling pressure in the stock is intact, and that is the reason we are recommending a sell there for a target of 220, and a stop loss can be kept at 280.
Okay, I just want to ask one more question before I let you go. While you are bullish on the Nifty and your pick within the stocks were Coal India and HDFC, one of the better performers in this month, when the Nifty actually underperformed, is Reliance Industries, 2.8% higher. That is the month-on-month rise. You don't think that will shoulder some of the rally in the Nifty if it does go to 8,500?
The only problem with Reliance is that, there's an extended time correction that we are seeing on the long-term chart. So even though, we don't expect the stock to move down, it's already placed at a very good support, but the problem is that when will it start moving up? So it might, have moved on a very short-term scale, but when we look at the overall movement, the 920, 940 are the very steep resistance that we see on Reliance Industries. So I think unless and until the stock is able to break out above that, we should not really go and participate. But once that happens, that will give us more confidence on the chart that that a medium-term move might, start there, and then we would expect a target of around 1100. But till that does not happen, I think we should avoid it.
All right, Shubham, thanks for giving us all those ideas. And here's a quick recap then of Shubham's stocks for today. Let's start with the buy calls. He has a buy on Coal India with a stop loss of 378 and a target of 440. Another buy coming in on EIL with a stop loss of 188 and a target of 240. HDFC as well is a buy with a stop loss of 1138 and a target of 1380. And he has a couple of sell calls as well that are flashing for you on your screen. REC and Hexaware are sell calls that he has recommended.